we get you up to speed on the latest in sports, I'm Denise Tan. Gilas Pilipinas turns their focus on the Asian Games in China this month. But several questions linger, including the composition of the lineup and the national team's head coach. Here's the story.
Muscling his way inside, and he gets the bucket.
Following their FIBA World Cup campaign, up next on Gilas Pilipinas' schedule is the upcoming Asian Games. The Asiad opens this September 23 in Hangzhou, China. That is why the team is set to meet this week to plan their campaign for the tournament.
We have initial plans. We'll see next week when we will meet for the Asian Games.
Gilas is fresh off their campaign-ending victory over China in the World Cup. But Gilas assistant coach Jong Chico believes the team's lineup for the Asian Games will be much different than the World Cup roster. This several players like Bilig Boys Dwight Ramos, Kiefer Avena, as well as big men Kai Soto and AJ Edu will not be available. Jordan Clarkson will also be out of the lineup since he's set to begin his own build-up for the new NBA season this October.
We can't carry the same lineup primarily because the Japanese that are the Filipino players that play in Japanese will go back to Japan.
Jordan Clarkson will not play?
No, because he's going back to the NBA.
Chico also revealed to News 5 that Justin Brownlee is also doubtful for the Asiad. The three-time PBA best import has been dealing with an injury and is under day-to-day observation. Brownlee was supposed to suit up as the national team's naturalized player in the Asian Games.
He just got operated on and he's still a question day-to-day.
Another uncertainty is the next head coach since Chot Reyes, who guided Gilas in the World Cup, has decided to step aside from coaching.
I might have coached my last game already as a Gilas Pilipinas coach. Through all the preparation and through all these times, I always said that, judge us on the performance in the World Cup. And obviously, we did not perform. We didn't perform, and like I said, the last game, I take full accountability. And because of that, I think it is time for me to step aside.
For News 5, Ian Suyu, we are One News.
Jordan Clarkson will not be playing for Gilas this Asian Games, but the Utah Jazz guard believes he has not played his last game for the national team. Clarkson vowed to continue representing the country in international competitions. He hopes he'll be there when the country guns for another shot at the FIBA World Cup in the 2027 in Qatar. By that time, Clarkson would have been 35 years old. Despite this, the former NBA Sixth Man of the Year says he still feels like he can still go up against the world's best in the future. But if it were his last game in a Gilas jersey, he sure went out on a high note. Clarkson dropped 34 points, including 24 in that blistering third quarter against China in the country's last FIBA World Cup game. Meantime, for the competing teams, Sunday was a day of upsets as the top two teams in the world got beaten in the FIBA World Cup. Lithuania was able to hand Team USA its first loss in the tournament. Hot shooting enabled the team to erect a 20-point lead. The Americans rallied back in the third quarter, but the opponents kept them at bay until the final buzzer. Final score, 110-104 for Lithuania. The loss, though, did not do much other than tarnish the U.S. perfect record. They are still qualified to the 2024 Paris Olympics as well as the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Meanwhile, Canada and Spain went down the wire in their matchup in Group L. NBA player Dylan Brooks tied the game at 80 apiece with a three-pointer, with just under a minute and a half left in the game. Thunder star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander then drained a step-back jumper to give Canada the lead. The team got the ball back after a bad pass, enabling them to take the game away for good. Final score, 88-85. The win gives them the final spot in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. With that, the quarterfinal cast of the World Cup is complete. Team USA will face Team Italy for a right to face the winner of the Germany-Latvia matchup on the other bracket. On the other side, Lithuania will play Serbia, and whoever wins will face the winner of the Canada-Slovenia battle in the semifinals. Teams will have a rest day tomorrow, or today rather, before World Cup action resumes on Tuesday. Still on the World Cup, Japan has officially qualified for the Paris Olympics next year. The tournament co-hosts defeated Cape Verde 80-71 in Okinawa for its third win in the Worlds. The result eliminated China and Lebanon from contention, who both had one win each. This means Japan became the best Asian team in the World Cup, which then awarded them an automatic spot in the Summer Games in 2024. Prior to the Cape Verde win, Japan also took down Finland and Venezuela. This is Japan's second straight Olympic appearance after qualifying in 2020 as hosts. 4 more spots will be up for grabs in the 12-team Olympic competition, which will be filled in at next year's qualifying tournament. We're taking a time out. The game on One News Now will return after a quick break. Stay tuned. You're still watching the game on One News Now. I'm Denise Tan. EJ Obiena bounced back from a tough loss with a gold medal at a tournament in Germany. Obiena ruled over the Internationales Stadion Fest in Berlin after clearing 5.92 meters. The Pinoy pole vaulting ace successfully hurdled the mark on his third try. He even went for a new career high but fell short in all his attempts at 6.01 meter mark. This was a big bounce-back win for Obiena after a 10th place finish at the Zurich leg of the Diamond League last week. Speaking of medalists, the country's national esports team Sibol nabbed gold and silver at the International Esports Federation World Championships in Romania. After sinking them to the lower bracket, Sibol asserted mastery over Indonesia, 3-1 in Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Sibol's MLBB team was represented by AP Brent's players and did not concede a single series throughout the tournament. The Philippines was able to exact their revenge at Indonesia, who defeated Sibol last year. Meanwhile, Alexander A.K. Laveres notched silver in Tekken 7. Laveres lost to Atif of Pakistan 2-5 in the grand final. The Pinoy used Paul, Akuma, and Shaheen, while the Pakistani opponent stuck with Akuma throughout the series. The Photon Tornadoes have reportedly pulled out of the Premier Volleyball League. In a report by Inquirer.net Sports, Photon will not be part of the coming season, ending All-Filipino Conference. This is after some players didn't get a contract renewal, while others returned to the franchise's main team, the Cherry Tigo Crossovers. Several players of the Tornadoes also reportedly received offers from other teams, including the new squad and X-Led. The PVL will have 11 teams in All-Filipino tilt. Talks are also ongoing for new applicants for a franchise in the Volleyball League. Experts say female basketball players are more at risk of sustaining leg injuries since they play in shoes designed for men. This is why a company is setting out to change that by making sneakers exclusively for women hoopers. More on that in this Bloomberg video.
We don't legitimize or delegitimize women's hoopers dependent on how they stack up against men's. All we care about is their game. My name is Natalie White. I'm the founder and CEO of Moolah Kicks. I started Moolah Kicks 3 years ago in 2020 when I was struck by an ad that featured 4 of the top women's basketball players in the world holding out sneakers named after men's players. As I dug further into the issue, I realized that not only did the lack of women's basketball sneakers have a negative social implication, it had a negative performance one as well, because women's feet and men's feet are shaped differently. We did a ton of research to really understand the differences between the female and the male foot form. On the inside, our shoes are molded differently. So we have a higher arch, a slimmer width, and a more narrow heel. That means the foot really locks in and feels a different sense of comfort. And so when you play years and years on this equipment that doesn't fit your feet, you're more at risk for knee, ankle, and leg injuries.
So at this point, it is not up for debate that women are unfortunately more likely to tear an ACL when compared to their male counterparts doing essentially the exact same activity. So women in general have a wider pelvis for the size of their body relatively than a man has. What that means is it puts different stresses downstream into the legs and into the knees as you try to balance. There's more angle because of that wide pelvis. I think the idea of having a shoe, yes, that better fits and takes into account these biomechanical and these anatomic factors, it certainly isn't going to hurt, and it only has the potential to help, because if we can better fit the woman's foot, better stabilize all of the joints in the foot and ankle to give you a more stable base upon which all of this upper body has to move, now you're going to have better control. And now the force that comes up to your knee either may not be as much force, or it may just be better stabilized.
So when female hoopers are playing in them, they feel immediate comfort, they don't have to break the shoes in, and they don't feel a lot of the pain that they were used to feeling when they're wearing men's or unisex sneakers.
I've always been the type of player where once I have that shoe, I have to break it in, and I kind of stick to that shoe the whole season, because I'm like, I don't want to go through the process of breaking the shoe back in again. I've been playing basketball all my life, and I've always had to break in the shoe. And for me to be able to change that shoe every single week, like, that was insane for me. What she's saying is true, because I changed my shoe and my feet are fine. I felt good. They felt good.
The women's basketball industry is huge, with 6.5 million girls playing basketball across the country. Brands not addressing this market previously gives room for us to address it so wholeheartedly. Our sales grew from 2021 to 2022 by 208%. We're really shedding this comparison between men's basketball and women's basketball. So often, women's basketball is addressed as second to men's. It's an add-on, it's tacked on after. At Moolah, women's basketball comes first.
Get your fill of the latest in sports at onesports.ph. Meantime, the Newsday continues later at 4:30 p.m. I'll see you then. I'm Denise Tan. We are One News.